Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, and genders of all ranges, and welcome to the ARTPIT, conducted by the Jeremys, a pair of purveyors of fine art and oddities via the best damned art gallery this side of Long Beach, the Dark Art Emporium. Listen and wonder as we jibber-jabber about all things art, music, movies, and whatever other jive we decide to mosh together. Faint of heart, beware, and welcome to the ARTPIT.
Do you ever challenge yourself to see what extreme thing you can jerk off to?
I have, actually.
Take the challenge.
The mind isn't a wonderful, wonderful thing.
You're like, how many times can I repeat Bathtub Girl before it works? Feels like the first time.
I'm going to watch Knee Surgery and call my mom.
All right, we're going. When you're ready.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we're already going.
Oh, yeah, we're rolling.
So we are in Hyaena Gallery right now in Burbank, California. Beautiful today, Burbank, California. And we're hanging out with proprietor, operator, Mr. Bill Shaffer.
Hello.
And Brian Bubonic.
Hey, how are you?
And,
am I loud?
I
I hate really loud. Sorry.
Hey, as loud as you want, motherfucker. And of course, I'm Jeremy Cross, and
I'm Jeremy Schott.
And we're here repping D.A.E. at the Hyaena. Bill, how are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah?
The pandemic and all, but,
Hanging in there?
Yeah, we're all good.
You're looking scruffy. I like it. You look good.
I'm growing hair in strange places.
Yeah. I don't want to know about the other ones. I'm okay with the ones I can see.
That's the strangest part, I think.
And how about you, Bubonic?
Doing all right. Yeah, it's I'm kind of enjoying this a little bit. There's a little bit of the uncertainty that's no fun, but in general, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, nothing like a little chaos in the air.
Yeah.
Keeps
Shake things up.
Interesting, at least. If, not scary and terrifying or boring. It's weird, right? Because it's like, it's scary and terrifying and also fucking boring.
Yeah, I don't think I've really hit the scary and terrifying part as much as some people. Yeah, it's been kind of like, I don't know, I kind of unplugged myself from the news and, just trying to concentrate on doing stuff around the apartment and going out and getting some exercise, but not as much as I should.
You were doing the exercise videos. You and the lady were out walking around.
Yeah, we were just walking
tours,
around,
right?
showing things in Hollywood, going to cemeteries, stuff like that, where there wouldn't be too many people. Now it just seems there's nowhere. Everywhere you go, it's just people.
Even the cemeteries? Have you tried to go back?
The cemeteries are starting to get crowded. They even closed, I think not Forest Lawn, Hollywood Forever for a little bit. They closed unless you could prove...
Just for a brief moment. And
yeah.
Actually, I tried to go while it was closed as well. And then a friend of mine went the following week, and they were like, we're sorry about that. We misunderstood the direction, and you're totally okay to come back.
Right. Yeah, they had to prove you had a loved one there or something like that in order to get in.
And the guy at the gate was a real jerk to me.
Do you get that a lot?
Well, I mean, I kind of asked for it, to be fair. I mean, let's be honest.
And Runyon Canyon's right in my backyard, but that's still closed. So that's like my go-to place to exercise usually. But
I wonder if that'll be part of the whole trails and everything that they're talking about opening back up after this
most
week.
of them they've opened, but for some reason Runyon, just because it seems people love Runyon Canyon, and it just... Last time, just before they shut it down, there were way too many people up there.
See, I hear the name. I've never been. I hear the name. I just think of like Hollywoodites in like spandex pants, jogging with martinis. I don't know why.
And little dogs.
Yeah,
it used to not be that. It was kind of a locals only thing for years and years. But now, because of social media and stuff like that, everybody wants their selfies up there, and it's used in TV shows and movies. But before, it was kind of like LA's secret. And you could walk 10 minutes and you wouldn't even realize you were in LA. And then you reach a bend and then you see the whole skyline.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's really pretty.
yeah.
But,
You been up there?
Yeah.
Doing some hiking, some jogging?
When I did that movie, we did a scene up there that she wants me.
That makes more sense.
And that was the only time I went up there.
Yeah.
Fuck these people.
Well, fuck walking.
Yeah, right? I'll run when I'm chased.
Nobody walks in the day. Or Burbank or wherever we're talking about. I don't even know where Runyon Canyon is.
Hollywood.
It's in Hollywood. Okay.
Hollywood.
Yeah. All right. That makes more sense.
Goes right up to Mulholland Drive.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So I've driven by it many times. So like I said, we're in Hyaena. We are in a place that has been here for. Am I correct in 14 years? 14 years, right?
April 1st was 14.
14
Yeah.
fucking years, man.
Yeah, it's weird.
Just madness.
I never thought I'd last 5. Like that was like the goal was 5.
Yeah,
like,
I can
oh my
remember
God.
having
if we
those
make it to 5, we
conversations.
could just celebrate. Everything's done. And I'm like, I'm still poor.
So,
Gotta keep going.
so do you wish you'd quit at 5?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I love what I do too much, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's Hyena's not really about money for me. I'm the worst businessman because like it isn't about money. It's about the art and about meeting these people and interacting with the customers who love the art I love, and promoting the artists that don't get a chance at other galleries.
That's one thing that I've always immensely respected you for is that regardless of the ticket value or the ticket deficit against you, you have always had an integrity of vision that is, I'm in awe over it. I mean, because I get you hungry.
It's a stubborn stupidity. Like I could probably be living really, really well if I showed whatever's trendy, and the artists that are guaranteed to sell, but that stuff doesn't interest me, and it never has.
Too easy, right?
I don't know. Like, I mean, if it's good, I like it, but like H.R. Geiger, he's fine. He doesn't
Right.
need me.
Well,
like,
he doesn't need anybody anymore, to be fair.
yeah, I mean, Mark Ryden, he's fine. He really doesn't need me. He's gonna sell one painting and live for a year. It's the little guys I like, and the unknowns, and like the Christopher Ulrichs of the world, who are these geniuses laboring away in their workshops that no one ever sees, and they come out with masterpieces. But because they're not on social media constantly, like they don't get the attention and they don't get the sales that they deserve.
Right.
But true art lovers love that stuff. They see it and they get blown away.
Is that the vision that you had going into opening this place? Was that always the ideal?
Kinda. I just want to sell stuff I loved.
Yeah.
Like I come from a music background, and God, so many years in the music industry, distribution, a small label I worked for, and then 10 years in music retail, and I just got so sick of selling stuff I hated. Like for every Screamin' Jay Hawkins album I sold, you sell 20,000 Hootie and the Blowfish. So I wanted to move to LA and open up a store and only sell stuff I loved.
So tell me about that experience. So
Yeah. How did it start?
you came from you came from Springfield,
Yeah, Springfield, Mass.
fresh faced and ready to kick ass in LA and yeah, give us
From
that
from
scenario.
Springfield, Mass, I moved to Boston.
Okay.
And that's where I went. I was going to go to photography school there originally, because I was a music major, a classical guitar major in my area, and I screwed up my hand really bad and put it through a window and severed 3 branches of my radial nerve on my right hand. So
You want to tell that story?
it's not really a great story.
But I want to hear how you broke your hand, man.
Well, I was
Make it
playing
quick if
classical
it
guitar,
sucks.
classical guitar major. I went to Holyoke Community College. I had a full tuition scholarship, and I chose Holyoke Community because the guitar teacher there was Phil DeFermery, and he was the #1 student of Andres Segovia, and he kind of carried on the Segovia legacy. And I was like, to study under him would just be mind blowing. And he also taught at Westfield State, so I was going to get my degree at Holyoke Community, then transfer to Westfield State, and still take lessons from him, and get my next degree there. And I was working at Stop and Shop, a grocery store. So my life was practice all morning, go to school, go to work, stock shelves, go home and practice for hours. And it's like 2 a.m. one night, a hot night, and I just wanted to open the window, and there was these old, God, you don't have those houses out here with the roller windows.
Oh, I've lived in
It's
those.
a
yeah.
really New England thing, I think.
I know what you're talking about, though.
But so I was trying to open the window, and the roller, the pulley system got stuck, and my hand kept moving and just up thrust into the window. It was total accident just because I was tired and hot. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, man. I got to clean this up. I got to clean glass. I just want to go to bed. And I see spurt. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I basically severed my artery, 3 branches of my radial nerve. It was like an inch deep into the bone. And I had to go to the emergency room, and it really sucked.
And it was on your wrist, your hand?
Yeah, my right wrist.
So did they think that you were trying to off yourself, or?
No. It was very, very clear it was a total accident and screwed up my life in a way I didn't want. Because I now have no feeling in my right hand. Like, it's all just numbness. I had 2 nerve surgeries.
Permanent stranger.
Yeah. And they're just a little more talented than your lefty.
All right, so being a musician is now not an option.
Well, weirdly, after I healed from that, I got into the best band. I was my favorite band, the Gutters.
Oh, okay.
It was just a really experimental noise thing, and I answered an ad. They wanted a guitar player who really knew how to play music well, but didn't want to. And I'm like, I can play really bad. I know what I'm doing, but I really can't play well anymore. Let's do it. And I was in that band for like 4 years.
Is any of the Gutter stuff available online? Because you've given me Gutter stuff over the years, and I love the Gutters. I think it was a great band. The stories of your singer, Adam super
Rashi.
enthralling.
Insanity.
Is it like on YouTube or anything?
There's a lot of videos on YouTube of our shows
Okay.
in like the Massachusetts area. A German label contacted us and put out our demo on CD like years and years ago. They wanted to buy the rights, and we're like, just do it. Like, I can't believe anybody cares about this at this point.
No, it was awesome.
And we have a record out that is probably impossible to find unless you're in New England.
Yeah, I have a copy somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty sure you gave me a copy over there.
But yeah, so from all that nonsense, I was like, you know what? I still want to do something creative. I can take photographs. So I was going to go to New England School of Photography. So I moved up to Boston without having a job or a plan, and found a job at a record store because I had, again, a pretty extensive music background by that time, working for different places. And I just worked too well and ended up running the place. So we had a chain of, it was 7 stores down to 5 stores at the end.
What year was this?
God, this is 95 to 2005.
Okay.
CD Spins in Boston, if anyone cares or remembers. It's a cool little like used CD store. But again, at the end we had 5 stores, a big warehouse, pretty good CD resurfacing business that was going on the side too.
CD resurfacing?
Yeah.
That was like the CD cleaners that you.
We had machines that would actually sand them down and polish them. So if you scratched your CD to hell because you were irresponsible, we could fix it for a fee. In most cases.
I don't think I remember people offering that service. I remember like you could buy your own like CD washers, but I don't remember people offering to actually clean them.
Thing about that, it was really expensive to do. So
sounds like it.
We would end up just buying like pallets of junk CDs and pulling out the best stuff and resurfacing them and selling them for, full price.
Right.
At the end. So that's where the money was in that, if anyone cares. Otherwise, it was a bunch of wet, messy machines that were kind of annoying.
Most people listening are like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, what? I don't know what the most interesting story, but that's what we did.
That's what editing's
But
for.
James from the Dropkick Murphys worked for me.
Oh, that's cool.
He was in the Ducky Boys at the time, and he was the guy resurfacing CDs for me.
Don't mind that noise. That's me popping a bottle of whiskey. It sounds terrible, but it's just whiskey.
And Dropkick Murphys were his favorite band, and he came in and was like, I gotta give my notice. I just joined the Dropkick Murphys, and we're going to tour Japan. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
I'm like, go for it. And I think he's still with the band, and hopefully happy, because he was a good dude.
So how did that come to an end?
I was planning on moving to L.A. My wife and I, for years, we'd been coming out here on vacation, staying for like 2 weeks. We had a ton of friends out here, and we've been kind of planning. So I wanted to open an art gallery because I'm an idiot.
Yes.
Yep.
No experience doing it, but I just loved art, and I've been collecting it since I was 16. And I had a lot of artist friends, and I'm like, I want to open a gallery and just show my friends and like support the people I love and sell stuff I love. And so I'd been collecting art, and to come out here, and I had no thoughts of representing artists. I just wanted to sell stuff so I was buying stuff from artists I love that I was planning on reselling. and rare stuff and weird stuff. And then I had a house fire.
Oh, wow. I remember the house. I remember you telling me about the house fire. Yes.
Lost everything I owned. It was terrible. We had this massive apartment on the third floor of this hill overlooking Revere Beach, which Revere Beach is really disgusting. It's full of needles and really terrible people, but the view is beautiful. So we never went to the beach, but we saw it all the time from our giant window in our living room. And 7 massive rooms on the third floor of this big old Victorian house, $700 a month. In 10 years, our landlord never raised our rent.
Oh, God.
It was the best place in the world. And the first floor kid was this little, like, deviant white thug kid who had gone to prison a few times while we had lived there. And he got evicted and burned the place down.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
So then I was like, everything I was saving to move to LA with is now gone. So we said, fuck it. Took 2 years to kind of recoup and moved out here with nothing.
Not trying to bring a tear to your eye, but like, what's something you can remember that you lost in that fire that really haunts you still?
My kitty.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, my Jezebel. She was a good cat.
Named after Gene Loves?
Yeah, Sherry named me, yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
She was a good kitty, and we had a friend staying with us at the time of the fire. It was Marathon Monday in Boston, which is a terrible time. But we had a friend who just happened to be in town, like passing through, and he was in the apartment when saw the flames coming up the side of the building, and he actually grabbed our cat and tried to save her, and she clawed the shit out of him. Oh. She did not like going outside, so he showed me his chest. I felt really bad for him, but he really did try, and he's a good dude. And like he even left his own he had a backpack with everything he had. He left it in there trying to save our cat and couldn't do it. And then he called me. He's the one who gave me the call. And I kind of laugh about it now. But I'm at work. I'm dealing with some nonsense in the CD store. And I get this call. And it's like, Bill, I have to preface this by saying I had nothing to do with it. But your house is burning down. Your house is burning down. Holy fuck. Everything's burning. You have to get here now.
Like, does it say more about him or your relationship with him that he had to preface that way?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because it probably would have been what did you do? Like,
fuck, man. Okay, so tragedy strikes again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Like, you pissed off a gypsy or something. And now what? So the plan is still to come out to LA.
So I never changed my plan. I just had a lot less to do it with.
Okay.
So we just recouped. We gave our jobs 2-year notice. We're like, at this date, we are out of here. You can use us as much as you want until then. Because she was running her flower shop there in the Prudential Center, and I was running my stores. And I remember I wrote, like, the owner of the company, I wrote him a book explaining how everything is run. Because he'd been detached from the company for a while.
Yeah.
Like, these are your good employees. These are the ones I'm watching. These are why they're good. This is who's going to step up for you. This is how you treat them. And he ignored all that shit.
So it's still in business then, is what I heard.
No, it's all.
I had a feeling.
Within a year, I think it was all closed down. Because everyone I said was bad, he promoted. Everyone I said was great. They questioned him, so we fired him. Huh? I'm like, no, they're good because they question, because they actually care. They're never questioning, like, whatever. But
totalitarian leadership didn't really work out.
Yeah, for him. And he was really good to me, the owner. So I can't say anything bad about him in that way. I just wish he had listened, because I wanted him to keep the stores going, because I cared so much about those people that were working there. Like, they were my friends. They're my family for like 10 years.
That makes sense.
So yeah, we just moved out here. Stayed with a friend for 6 months, 5 months. And I just got to work and finding a spot. I had like $500 to my name, and I did a little bit of fibbing to landlords.
It doesn't matter now.
A little bit of borrowing, a little bit of taking from here to pay this, to figure that out, and credit card, and made Hyaena happen.
14 years ago.
14 years ago.
A month ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, my first months in Boston or in LA were just with a Thomas guide. This is before GPS on your phone. And a Thomas guide, I was just cruising all the areas I thought were kind of cool. and spending days there looking at foot traffic. Like I spent 2 days across the street at the hotel watching the foot traffic here and seeing, and I did research on the store that was here before me. Like I'm insane because
This was 8 Ball before, right?
8 Ball, yeah. And they were here for 8 years. I'm like,
It was
okay.
kind of like a greaser store.
like a rockabilly clothing store.
So, Brian Bubonic. We've heard the backstory for how Bill ended up making Hyaena happen and how he ended up here. When did you first meet up with Bill and tell the story of how you slowly oozed your way in?
I first met him when I set fire to his apartment. And I just needed to make amends somehow, and I wound up here. No, actually, I used to shop at 8 Ball, and I came by and saw that 8 Ball was no longer here, and I was like, oh, what's going on now?
Who's this piece of shit?
And I came in, and I was like, okay, it's kind of a cool, creepy art gallery, but the guy who runs it seems to be pleasant,
Super
which
sexy.
which usually isn't the experience with a lot of those places. I've been to places that kind of deal with, macabre art, and it's standoffish, and you can tell it's kind of weird. It's either the people who ran it or still run them, they're not social people, or they're awkward. And I guess a lot of people deal with art have an awkwardness about them, and not all of them really can connect with customers. But I found Bill to be, pleasant and kind of normal.
You must have met him on a Tuesday.
So weird.
Yeah. It wasn't what I expected out of it. And at the time, I was working in television post-production, and it was becoming more and more corporate. And they were putting us in cubicles, and it was then the open workspace and the horrible lighting. So it was kind of like doing serious work, but in a grade school atmosphere with like fluorescent lights and just people getting in each other's business and not really enjoying it. And I really wanted to get out of that. So I would come in and occasionally buy something and kind of hint to Bill that he needed help, because he was running it all by himself. And at that point, he was doing a new exhibit every 2 weeks.
Oh, I remember.
Which is just insanity.
It was pure insanity.
That is.
But it's what I had to do to get established.
Yeah.
Like, I think in 3 years, I showed more art than any gallery in LA.
Was that just for the first 3 years?
It went a little bit longer. Like than that. It was like 4
remember,
years. I think by the 5th year is when I stopped doing that.
Like, I remember telling you early on, like, this is nuts, dude.
It's what I had to do to get people in the door.
Yeah.
Every other week, I had people like a party.
Yeah.
And it's just what I needed. And I broke so many artists.
Oh,
like, doing that.
You broke so many artists. Like, we can get into that in a second, but like, holy shit. Like, so we're talking about, what are we talking about then? We're talking about 26 art shows per year.
24.
24, sorry. I'm drinking. Math,
There's a
whatever.
leap
Fuck
month.
you. Yeah. All right, so 24 art shows per year. So let's say 3 years. It's like 1,000 art shows.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I couldn't understand why he was doing it, but I liked it because you got to see something different every time you came. Every time you came in, there was something completely different.
That was always the feedback that I heard, that like every time you came in, the place was completely changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool, and I just started hinting to him. I was like, you need help. And I'd come back a few weeks later, and I was like, you need help. And he's just like, no, I can't do it right now.
I was just like, why is this guy flirting with me? He's so heavy. Like, he's really cute, but I'm like, dude, I'm married. Like,
and I just really wanted to get out of my situation, so I kept chipping away at him. And finally, I came in one day, and he was looking kind of pale that day, and he said, I need help. And I was like, oh, okay.
You must have got him on a Tuesday.
I was like, wait, when do you want me to come in? So it was about 10 years ago now, I think.
yeah, seems right.
Yeah, it's about a decade now.
So this was right at the tail end of the every 2 week situation.
Yeah.
Did you talk him out of that?
I think maybe I had a little influence on that, but I think,
Well, it was me trying, I think, to just get more of a hold on things, and
Your anxiety had to be off the charts.
Maybe have some downtime.
Yeah.
I worked for 4 years without a day off. Like, I was in holidays, Christmas, I was here, and I had business. Thanksgiving, I was here. like, if there was a chance that someone might come in, I was here.
Yeah.
And, you know, after 4 years of that, you're like, wow, I just need to stop. And that's when he was coming around, and God, I think you were buying good art too. I loved what he was buying. He bought like a Kepi Ghoulie piece from me.
When I first started collecting art, it wasn't by design, but it turned out that the majority of the artwork I owned at that time was made by musicians. So I decided that was kind of going to be the direction I wanted to take my collection.
So Kepi Ghoulie being a good example,
Yeah.
but who else?
I have like D.A.E. Ramone, Daniel Johnston.
D.A.E. made art?
Yeah, D.A.E. was
yeah.
painting
I didn't know
when he
D.A.E.
lived
made
out
art.
here. I have 2 D.A.E. paintings.
You were supposed
How
to
are
film
they?
him.
Be honest.
They're kind of weird, and he did a lot of collaborations.
Okay.
So I think sometimes like he would paint the background and his wife would paint the characters.
Okay.
And then sometimes he worked with some LA street artists. So I never got the real solid answer on who did what in his work.
But he was making some smart choices as far as the collaborations go.
Yeah,
sounds
it was
like.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really kind of crude, but with some street influence. And whenever I'd meet him on the street, he lived right in my neighborhood, he would talk to you like he knew you all your life. And then he'd be dropping names, just first names of people like you knew everyone in his circle. And then he would kind of look around and go, okay, I got to go now. And he would just leave. And that's what it says on his tombstone.
Yeah, gotta
Okay, I
leave
got
now.
to,
Yeah.
because that was kind of a catchphrase with him. But yeah, I saw him walking down Highland one day in Hollywood, and I was just like, it was like Jesus Christ walking down the street.
Sure.
And I was just like, holy shit, that's D.A.E. And I stopped him, and he was friendly. He took the time to talk to me. He told me why he'd moved to L.A. and just what he was doing, and I was like, what? And then he had a show at Dark Delicacies,
No
where
kidding.
he did a book signing and he was selling art. So I bought a small piece from him at that, and it's called The Horror Ballet.
Good name.
And it's a woman dancing on stage, and the audience is filled with cats. So that's small, like an 11 by 14 piece that I got from him. And then later I got one of a self-portrait of him checking into the Chelsea Hotel, and the person behind the desk is Satan.
That's cute.
And that's a big piece that's painted on a piece of cardboard.
So who else? Who else are the musicians that you're doing?
John Langford from the Mekons. I have
Okay.
a piece by him.
I don't know who that is at all.
He's Welsh, and they're kind of a alt country thing. He's in so many projects.
Sounds like I'd like it though.
like the
Yeah,
Mekons.
he's great,
Yeah.
and his paintings are fantastic. He paints a lot of characters from country music and Americana, and he's kind of gotten more into that music style himself.
See, this makes perfect sense knowing you, that music drew you to art. Because music is like, when I think of you, I think of somebody who knows way more about music than anybody I know.
I could fill books with all the things I've forgotten.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like my memory is for shit most of the
And the
time.
people you've met, you could fill volumes with just the people you
Well,
forgot that you've met.
Just by living in LA for so long, it's just
How long have you been
That's
here?
how it happens. I moved here in 1991.
Where were you before that?
I lived for a couple years in Chicago when I was going to school there. I went to film school in Chicago for a couple years and then dropped out. But I'm originally from the Philadelphia area. So,
Oh, Philly boy.
yeah,
I didn't know that you were from Philly. I
Yeah.
don't think we've ever had that conversation.
yeah. Originally born in Philly, raised in South Jersey, then spent some of my adult life in Center City.
So you come in, Bill doesn't suck.
Well, for money.
At least not
that
that
time for money.
Not that day.
That's how you got the job.
And you keep coming around, you keep asking him, and finally he says yes. I need help. What happens next?
Well, I quit my job because I'd run out of vacation time, and I had plans on going to France and Spain for about a month. And I didn't want to come back owing the company any vacation time and any back time.
Right.
So I just quit the job with 1 week's notice. and I've been broke ever since. It really was not a good choice.
I don't pay well.
We never do.
And then after that, I decided to just hop in my car and drive around the Southwest for about a month by myself. The only plan I had was I had to go to a friend's wedding in Tempe, Arizona. So that was kind of the impetus of the whole trip. And then I just drove around and slept in the car and drank a whole lot and went on weird adventures. And then every once in a while would stay in a hotel or sleep in a national park.
Weird adventures are easy to have in the desert.
Getting really, really drunk in a brew pub, and then a drum circle broke out, and it really wasn't my thing. Yeah, it was in kind of the hippie area of Arizona. I don't remember exactly where it was. So I ditched the drum circle, but I was definitely too drunk to drive. So I pulled off the side of the road into a median strip that was just dirt. And I fell asleep there for a little bit. But then I cracked the window and all of these spiders climbed in my car.
Jesus Christ.
And I don't know if it was in my head or if it actually happened.
Drunk doesn't usually make spiders from nowhere.
Yeah,
so.
well, I don't. Maybe DTs. You know, you see them on your leg and you brush them off.
It's
you
usually
know,
something else.
The,
I'm just
the
saying.
creepy crawlers. Yeah, maybe I would slip something in the drum circle. Who knows?
I mean, you were near a drum circle.
Yeah.
Like the psychedelics are just like they like sweat out at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of the area where you go and have your aura photographed and stuff like that. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
it really
yeah.
wasn't my scene, but that was like I'm just enjoying the brew pub and then a drum circle.
Yeah, you
breaks out.
accidentally licked somebody. And...
Yeah, that's possible. So my reaction to all these white spiders climbing into my
White
car.
spiders, no less.
Yeah.
Why is that worse?
I don't know, and thousands of them. My reaction was to take all my clothes off and take a bunch of self-portraits, like long exposure self-portraits, with wearing nothing but hiking shoes and one of those head flashlights.
So I get some of these pictures, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I can send you some, yeah.
Because like we might have to do some photo montage follow-up for
I
this.
think that should just be our answer for every problem.
I think what we're learning
now
is
Yeah, I was completely freaked out by the spiders, but for some reason that was the natural thing for me to do at the time. And this is literally on a median strip of a freeway.
So you at no point you're thinking that you got dosed.
No, I didn't. I was pretty sure that the spiders were real.
I think we need to spend like 2 hours with just Brian.
Right?
Oh yeah.
He's got so many great stories. He's shared so many with me over the.
I
couple years
love
I've
I
known
love
him.
all the desert stories because all of your great stories seem to spawn from the desert.
Well, we spent a lot of time there, mostly Death Valley. That's where I got married, and but we go to Joshua Tree because it's half the distance. So
All right, so I'm gonna pull it back in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rein us back in here for a second because that's fun as hell. But
yeah, sorry to go on such a tangent, but yeah, eventually I started working here, and then I would look at art and go like, oh, Clint Carney's a musician. I can buy art from him.
oh, there you go. So you found a way to justify the inclusion. Yeah.
And I could continue to buy because, I mean, I love dark art. I grew up with horror films. All that influences in my head. I love, bands like the Cramps are one of my favorite bands.
As they should be.
It all ties in. It all in my head. It all ties in.
No, I completely agree. It makes sense.
I grew up with comic books too, which is weird because Hyaena is right next to a comic shop.
I thought this was a comic book shop.
Oh yeah. You son of a bitch.
Wait, well, just like the Dark Card Emporium's a tattoo parlor.
Yeah, it's odd we don't get the crossover because in my head it all is part of popular culture, and we're in Burbank. Universal's up the street. That's where horror in
Yeah, the classic Universal,
in
yeah.
the pop culture sensibility. Frankenstein's monster looks like Boris Karloff because of Universal and because Jack
Right.
Pierce. We're
Unless
in that
you're me, and then he
neighborhood.
looks like Bernie fucking Wrightson drew him.
Yeah, so it all ties in, and yeah, I eventually would say, well, this person is a musician, I could buy their art, but eventually I started breaking my rules and saying, okay, this is just art I can really appreciate, and my wife will have on the walls as well. We have similar sensibilities.
So let's fast forward a moment.
Okay.
So you went from music head, transitioning that into somewhat of an art head, as far as a collector goes. You're working with Hyaena, and then, if I'm mistaken, correct me, but your very first time actually making art and putting it on the wall was with the Charlie Sheen exhibit.
Yeah. That was, it was,
Was the
yeah.
dead guy from Sublime?
No, that was, the Sheen was the first time.
It was the Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Tony. Tony had visited the plasma center one too many times, and he was all emaciated, and he had kind of meth teeth. And,
So what made you decide to actually want to start making the work? I know you haven't made a lot over the years, but like
no,
it's a leap of some sort.
He's actually a really good photographer.
Okay,
Like
I didn't know that.
I love it. I love his pics.
that was
Like,
my minor in school was still
Yeah.
photography. I don't.
so I mean, he
think I
has this
ever-
creative thing.
Yeah,
I'm your
it's-
cheerleader right now. Like,
But
no,
my-
but he does.
Bill's always in your corner, no matter who you are. I love it.
I grew up in a pretty big family. I'm one of 6, and my brother, who's closest to age to me, is an illustrator, and he has that ability to take something from his mind and put it on paper. And I have that hurdle. Like, I can visualize something, I can come up with a concept, but to actually execute it does not work for me. And so I'm a frustrated artist. And I find that if I can't make something in 1 or 2 sittings, I'm not going to do it.
Fuck it.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to do it. I have so many unfinished paintings at home because it's just I could not get it through, or it wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to. And I went through this weird period where I was painting portraits of murderers, and they all began to look like me. It didn't matter who it was. It could be Ed Gein,
Oh shit.
and then I'd look at it and I'm like, no, that's me.
That doesn't mean anything, I'm sure.
I was painting Charles
patient.
Manson on a piece of metal that I found in Death Valley, and it started looking like me. So I stopped those paintings. So yeah, I have a lot of these blocks.
That's why you stopped them, is because
yeah,
they all look
yeah,
like
they
you?
started to look like me.
How did that make you feel, though?
It creeped me out a little bit, but then I was
can I
just
have
like,
them?
can I
Like,
not?
Did,
Can I
you
paint-
couldn't stop yourself from making that happen, though?
I don't think so. And it was
Do you
funny.
think you wanted to make that happen?
No.
I'm not trying to put you on the couch here, but like, there's
No,
a lot in
because
there.
I
I
was
didn't
never,
know this.
I wasn't
I'm
looking.
like, my eyes are bugging out. Like, I had no idea.
I wasn't looking
You've
in
never
the
seen
mirror
these.
for
No.
reference or anything.
want
Sorry, I don't
them.
mean to interrupt you, but the fact that Bill's never seen these is fucking weird.
I think you have your next show.
I've never heard this story.
Well, they're unfinished. They're really rough. Although the piece I painted on metal, I put away for a long time, and then I pulled it out, and I was like, oh, this is a finished painting. I like it kind of in this state because it's kind of ghostly and.
You know what's going to be funny is you're going to show these to us, because you're going to show these to us, and they're not going to look anything like you.
Probably not. Well, when I was a teenager, I used to do a graffiti tag, and it was based on a toy called Hugo Man of 1,000 Faces, which was this creepy plastic doll that you could put in disguises. So he had wigs and mustaches and glasses and eye patches.
I'm
But
sure
he-
Nicholas Caesar has 12 of them.
He has one.
he might. So I used to do this tag, and I can remember, like, in yearbooks in high school, I drew Hugo in everybody's yearbook. And in the high school parking lot, I painted like a 20-foot tall one in spray paint. So Hugo was this tag I always did. And about 10 years after that, my brother asked me if I realized that Hugo was a self-portrait. Because I began to look like this creepy doll.
So this is full-on psychosis. Like, it's repeated itself enough times that it's patterned deep.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
gonna cry. This is amazing.
This is so beautiful.
This is amazing.
So anyway, if we want to jump to the whole Sheen thing,
She knew.
the Charlie Sheen exhibit, Bill came up with that because it was at the height of Charlie when he was spouting off the craziness.
Yeah, the tiger's
all
blood.
all the
Yeah.
time. And I came in one day and Bill said, we're going to do a Sheen exhibit. And I was like, oh, that is like pandering. That is like lowest common denominator. Like, come on. And then he was like, let's do it before someone else does.
But no, it wasn't. It was the whole thing with that is I had this heavy show planned. This was the Hyaena 10-year anniversary, and I had this really dark, heavy show, and it was a lot of work. And I'm like, man, it's our anniversary. I just want to have fun. And I'd been laughing about Charlie Sheen like through this whole time.
I can attest to this. We're talking months before this decision was made. Every time you talk to Bill, Charlie Sheen came up in either reference or directly in conversation. Like, you were fully obsessed.
Yeah, because I thought he was brilliant. Like, this is the funniest thing in Hollywood I've ever witnessed.
Like, I think that you actually, at one point were like, he's like Kaufman or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And so I decided, fuck it. Let's do a Charlie Sheen show. So I started calling artists, and they're like, Bill, I'm already making a piece because you've been torturing me with this. I was going to make a piece and send it to you. I'm like, no, save it. Let's do this. So it came together in 2 weeks. And
it was fast.
It wasn't like a lowest common denominator. I mean, it was, but it was in my comfort zone of what I think is tolerable.
But the artist that you chose too, like, you kept it super outsider lowbrow.
Oh yeah.
Like, you didn't bring anybody in that was going to do a masterpiece of Charlie Sheen, like a traditional portraiture or anything. It was all comically parody based.
Like, the pieces weren't kind. Like,
no,
they were all over the place. They were weird.
But we also didn't know that Charlie was going to come in and see them.
I know.
So let's talk a little bit about that.
I can play you his message. I have it on the answering machine.
Oh, I know.
His message to us.
You played it for me.
But I haven't played it for more than like a few people. But
maybe you send us the soundbite of it. We can add it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in? One real little thing is what sold me on the idea was Bill said, look, he's doing all this crazy shit, and he got called out on it, but he's not doing what every other celebrity would be told to do
not backpedaling.
And do damage control.
Yeah.
He's owning up to it, and he's saying, yes, this is me, and yes, I do drugs, and I like doing drugs.
Yeah, more than owning up to it, he just owned it.
Yeah, and then I started thinking of it that way, and I went home that day and started painting.
Well, your piece obviously was great because, like, that's the piece I remember from that show.
Oh, thanks.
Is your piece. Like, even more, I don't even remember what my piece looked like from that show. I remember yours.
Thank you.
Seriously, I don't remember any other piece but his.
That's really funny, is that this is before I knew you guys, but I was on TMZ with Charlie Sheen while all this shit was happening because he was in that movie that I produced.
Oh, that's right.
And I share an executive producer credit with Charlie Sheen.
Oh, that's perfect.
On this film. So he showed up right after he'd locked that girl in the closet for stealing his watch.
Uh-huh.
He'd hired a private plane to fly him here to be in the movie right down the street from Hyaena. And we had to put up tarps and shit because I was shaking his hand and TMZ and all the reporters are out. And he was a super cool dude.
Yeah, he was amazing to us.
He is such a nice guy.
He saved this gallery.
I don't doubt. Yeah.
Like, the 10-year was kind of like a make it or break it year, and he saved this gallery.
Well, he bought the entire show.
Bought the entire show, and then over the years, he kept sending people here. Like, when he was doing anger management, he was sending, like, the people to come buy shit for the crew. He commissioned Bonner to do a bust of him for a prop on the show. Like,
yeah, he was so cool with us too.
He was really loyal.
Yeah.
Like, to this stupid little art gallery in Burbank.
We produced this like tiny little film, and he had so much fun. He just gave us money and like, make me an executive producer because you can't list me as an actor because of his contract or whatever. Like, he's really cool.
I really regret that I was not able to be here when he came to the gallery.
Well, no one was. It was like a late at night.
It was just you, right?
It was me and Jenna.
Oh, Jenna. Okay.
Jenna was here. She was helping me out through it. We papered up the windows. He came with the two goddesses and the owl. The owl was his security, like Mossad
Who's the
guy.
owl?
It was this Israeli elite security force officer. The owl.
Is that how he was introduced?
Yes.
He's great.
That's so amazing.
Charlie was so cool.
And man, it was just fun. We came in here, we shot the shit for a while, and then he was like, "All right, I want to film this piece. can I ask everyone to leave except for my camera guy? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And he basically did an improv piece where he talked to each piece of art and filmed
Every one of them.
Everyone. And it was off the top of his head. It was like 15 minutes. It was done. And it's hysterical. It's so fucking
Did you ever release the whole thing?
I can't.
Yeah, you released little tiny bits of it, right?
Well, we signed a contract saying it was supposed to be on a documentary. When he was doing the Torpedoes of Truth tour.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
They were going to put it in that. Because this was happening, like our opening night was his first night in Detroit, which he bombed at.
Yeah, I remember
Because
that.
everyone bombs in Detroit. But he also had no plan. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just going to wing it. And then his next night did better, and he did better. But so we planned it in tandem, never knowing he would actually come. And you know, when I planned the opening, but so we filmed this whole thing. He filmed it so we could play it at opening night, and then we weren't ever supposed to play it again.
How did the opening go?
Oh, it was fantastic. Great crowd. But it was weird because somebody called the news and the police and said Charlie Sheen was going to be here. So the police came and they thought there were going to be riots. And,
What? Why would there be riots?
Because they thought Sheen would be here, and it was like in the middle of Sheen Mania.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But I had to explain, like, no, he's in Detroit. Like, he has the opening of his one-man show tonight. We're doing this in conjunction with that. It's a big Sheen, yay! And the police were just like, well, if there's any problems, we're gonna have some words with you. I'm like, dude, there's never a problem here. Like we've blown plumes of fire 50 feet in the air in the streets.
Oh, I was there for that.
and never had a problem. You know, it's like shit happens here. It's weird, but it's fun.
It's funny because the shit that goes on the sidewalk in front of Hyaena is usually way weirder than anything happening behind the doors.
I had a dude, Sterling, this Dr. Death, chop a watermelon in half off his lady's back with a flaming samurai sword.
That's right. I remember that.
So like that Sheen thing was all right. Like,
yeah, the cops still cruised around a few
Yeah.
times just
Yeah, they
to
kept
check
cruising.
on us, and we didn't know what to expect. So
The news
we
came.
kind of had some people that try to control the crowd because we really didn't know what was going to happen, and it was totally manageable. It wasn't insanity.
I had Kevin Clem here as security. He was my door guy. Like one of the only times I've ever had a door guy.
He's a big beefy fucker. That makes sense.
Yeah, corpse maker.
He's also the sweetest guy I've ever met. So
And
I don't know
makes
that I counted him to actually hurt
The best
somebody.
barbecue too.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Scotch, cigars, and barbecue. That's what I think of
Amen.
when I think of Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I miss that dude so much.
Hanging at his place in his library, sipping some scotch. Man, those are good times. I really miss that dude.
For those of you who don't know who he is, he was a prop maker who did these amazing corpse pieces. My favorite of which would be these sort of fleshy-looking, dried-up corpses with lights in the rib cage that would hang like chandeliers. Gorgeous stuff. Anyway, I digress. But,
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about the evolution
Yeah,
of Hyaena.
If I can pipe in, like, what I'm curious about is when you started the gallery, like, what was the gallery scene in LA like versus, like, what you were doing here?
Okay.
Like your inspiration and, you know, like, I know you wanted to show the stuff that you liked, but, like...
When I started, no one was showing what I show. All the bigger galleries had told artists, we don't do monster art. We don't do that stuff. It was the big eye trend. It was when like Crayola was huge, Mark Ryden was huge, like that's what they were showing. They were showing all the just the main, like Liz McGrath was huge, and these are dark artists I love, but they weren't considered dark art at the time. They were just money for the galleries because they always would sell.
They were pop art.
Yeah, I mean I love these artists, but
I do too. But they became pop art not because of the content, but because of what way the galleries presented them.
Yes. But no one was showing what I showed. Like La Luz wasn't showing it. Copro at the time wasn't showing it. And Copro has a great history of showing darker stuff. But again, at the time they were telling these galleries were saying we don't show that. We don't show monster art. It was relegated to October. Halloween shows where every artist got an invite to every gallery. Oh my God, this is your month to shine. And my whole thing was like, fuck man, like you're a real artist. You don't deserve 1 month. You deserve the whole year. Like we can show your art all year round because you're more than just a Halloween artist. Which is why I actually have issues with Halloween because of a lot of that stuff. Like when I was a kid, if I wanted to dress up as Batman, I'd just fucking do it. I'd dress up as Batman and run around the yard. Like,
So you don't like Halloween?
I really don't. Because I just did what I wanted whenever I wanted to do it. To have one month of the year saying, this is the spooky month. I'm like, no, fuck that. Every month can be the spooky month.
So is it the legitimization of the spooky culture during that finite moment?
I hated the definition of you are only valued during this time.
Right.
And what you care about is only valued during this time. And I'm like, no. This is how I live.
I gotta say that as an artist who does darker, weird shit, until recently, like around September, August, I would get a myriad, just a bombardment of invitations for October shows. But that is slowing down.
Good.
And I'm getting more invitations for other months. I don't know.
I was just hoping you weren't showing.
That may be the case, but
no, but that's the way it should be. And I noticed over the years, like I showed, this may be vanity, but I think I showed LA that this art is viable all year round. Like people care about it, people like it, and we can celebrate it all year round. So over the years, like 5-year mark, 7-year mark, I've seen more galleries bring this in. Like La Luz now shows it, Copro shows like some of the best dark art shows. Like I love those cats.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Oh,
Dark
they're
Art
great.
Emporium
Yeah.
shows some pretty great stuff too.
We try.
yeah, Gary and Erica are awesome.
But I guess that leads me into the question that I'm always asked too, like when I do interviews and stuff. Like, so what draws you to this? Like, why dark art, horror art, monster art? Like why? Like, is it just like versus Andy Warhol's?
Because you were kind of a big outsider proponent.
Oh, I'm still. I love outsider. I like anything that makes me feel.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about music art. Like Brian actually helped me get my first Wesley Willis piece. And like Daniel Johnston, Daniel Johnston's one of my favorite artists.
Agreed.
Because I just see his stuff and it's so honest. I like honesty, and I think in the dark art culture, there's more honesty in the art.
You don't think there's any pandering?
Oh, of course there is, but you can see it.
Yeah.
When it's there, you can see it. But in the traditional art galleries, you can see they're making something to sell, and the only purpose of this art is to sell to someone with a lot of money. And I'm selling $50 pieces, $200 pieces, $400 pieces. This isn't blue chip art. This is, if you're buying this, it's because you're connecting with it. And that to me is the best art.
Agreed.
I agree.
Yeah, totally.
If it doesn't make you feel something, then what's the point?
Yeah. I have collectors who have really expensive pieces in their collection, like $20,000 pieces, $40,000 pieces,
And a Nicholas Caesar.
hanging next to like $100 Nick Caesar.
Yeah.
And it's because they like it.
Because it's great.
Yes. Next to a cross.
Oh, well.
Well, I think by keeping everything affordable, we've gotten so many people to buy their first art that spawns a collection. I've had customers come in and take art off the wall to bring to pay for. And
That's adorable.
That's kind of, yeah. It's kind of,
It actually makes me go, aw.
At first, I'm a little freaked out by it, and then I'm like, don't you know how? And then I'm going, yeah, that maybe it doesn't have to
You're
be
like,
so
that's
precious.
okay.
And that's the way this thing works in their mind. It's like, yeah. And it's like,
But
okay.
it's also a very visceral response. Like, oh my God, I want this. And they pop it right off the wall.
Right.
Like, I need to have this. It is kind of awesome. It's
Like, my heart would jump. But like you said, like...
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd probably be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I get why that is okay for you to do that, and I'm not going to browbeat you for it.
Right, and we're not
because
one of those-
you're just living with that emotion of how much that reacted to you.
Yeah,
How
we're
much you
not
reacted
a
to it.
which
precious
is the
gallery
best.
where
Yeah.
there's 12 pieces of art on the wall and nothing else in a Spartan environment, as you can see.
and one person at a desk that's ignoring you.
Yeah. That is updating their Facebook and wondering, when is 5 o'clock gonna hit?
So, let's talk about the evolution of Hyaena Gallery. So, where was your head at the beginning, and how has it changed at all to where you're at now, and what does that look like? Because I know that Hyaena.
What a hard question.
I know that Hyaena itself has changed. Like, you've gone through different evolutions as a gallery, but the core sentiment has remained the same as far as an outsider perspective.
Well, when I first started, I was all gung ho. There are no limits. Everything is possible. Like I'd opened 7 stores in Boston. Like, I know how to open a store, and then I know retail. I know how to make shit work. And, you know, with the gallery, the hardest thing for me was to realize this is all on me. Like, I'm the only one responsible for everything. I'm the janitor, I'm the curator, I'm the marketer. Like, I am everything. Whereas in the past, I'd always had, you know, a manager of my store. I had the boss. I could, like, the owner, I could, like, call in when I needed extra funds. Like, hey, we need some stuff here because I have a project I want to do, so give me like $5,000. And I didn't have that here. So everything here has been by the skin of my teeth, but I still felt there were no limits. And then, like 2 years in, we had an incident where I was going to show one of my favorite artists ever, Stu Mead.
Oh, shit.
Like, I know you remember this.
Oh, I remember this very viscerally.
Stu Mead is an outsider artist who does very sexual cartoon drawings of possibly adolescents, but his work is amazing. It's really just brilliant. And he actually left the country because of the Mike Hyaena case.
Yep.
Mike Hyaena, who got persecuted for drawing naughty art in Florida, and got jailed for it. The only
There was a pedophile argument involved.
There was, but it wasn't pedophile art at all. Stu, if you know him as a person and you care to do like a fucking 2-minute Wikipedia search, you'll see this man was born with a disease, and he's very frail. And with his art, he likes to take the concept of fine art and pervert it to make people as uncomfortable as he is all the time. And he paints these sexual situations with young-looking women, but they're all cartoons. This is all cartoons, so there's no real people. Like, how old is a cartoon? You know,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
How old's Goofy?
It's weird, like Tom and Jerry, but he makes these sexual situations, and there's always like a weak man and a strong. But the women are always really strong. These young girls in these power situations always have the control, and it's because
that's true. I never actually thought about his work that way.
This is what his work is. It's a reflection of himself as an artist, which is the purest form of art. He's showing himself in his art. Like, he feels inferior. He's promoting these women as goddesses in his world, in his cartoon world. Anyway, look it up. He's brilliant. But I had these.
He's in France now, yeah.
Germany, Berlin. He was like, if this guy's going to jail for his art, I don't want to wait till they get to me. I'm going to go to Berlin, and live there forever. And he's such a sweet dude. Like, I love the man. I've done 2 shows with him. They both have sold out. They were the only shows on U.S. soil in the last 15 years.
The backlash, though. Jesus Christ.
Oh, the backlash. I had a group of artists that I'd been showing regularly for 2 years that just turned on me. They were like,
so these were loyal, regularly showing in the gallery artists who supported you and you supported them.
I loved who I thought were friends.
And they turned on you because of this show.
That I had actually helped help them with their art careers. Like, right. I'm like, we're gonna sell your art regularly every month, and they were like, you can't show this. I'm like, no, I can show this. Like, it's my gallery. This is Stu Mead. I can
do what the fuck I want.
Like, when I opened the gallery, I had a list of 10 artists. I'm like, if I can show all of these artists, I'll make it. And Stu was like number 2 on my list of artists. Like, I love him so much.
Wait, who was number 1 then?
Me.
Nah.
No. I'm not going to tell my list. I'm not going to tell my list. But like, seriously, like, he was number 2 on my list of, like, when I just jotted down, like, these are the most important artists to me and what I care about. And they were like, you can't do this. And they called the police on me. They reported the show for child pornography.
They went to several news outlets and tried to get him shut down.
And none of it was true. Like I handled it as responsibly as I could because I wanted to highlight the art and show this is important. This is an important artist, important work. And man, but the betrayal factor was so terrible. I almost quit. I was like, fuck this. If I spent 2 years helping these people and they're going to do this to me, why should I even bother?
Okay, so immediately after the Stu show, you asked me to curate a show.
Well, no. First of all, the Stu show ended up being one of the best things to happen to me because the LA Weekly, I forget the writer's name right now, and I'm really sorry, but he wrote an article on. He was writing an article on lowbrow and covered like all the big galleries, and it's like, but none of that is important when you look at what Hyena's doing. This is what they're doing, and had this like 10-paragraph thing about our Stu Mead show and how important it was, and that helped so fucking much.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember that as well. Yeah.
But I had one of the artists was set for a major show right after that, and I had to cancel it. So Jeremy, you volunteered.
Yeah.
Like you saw, I was gonna run into traffic. I was so like betrayal hits me.
What did I
so
title
hard.
it? Something lemmings.
When life hands you lemmings.
When life hands you lemmings.
But I was gonna run into traffic. I just couldn't take this betrayal by people I really cared about,
Yeah, this sucks.
who I thought were on my side. Like no gallery in LA is showing you, and I'm showing you, and then you're trying to control what I do.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm giving you freedom. You should allow me the same freedom.
Now, the beauty of what comes out of this is the respect level of Hyaena jumps up in the community.
Oh.
The artists that are causing all this bullshit, and it's like 3 artists, to be real. It's these 3 artists that are all connected. I think they were like a trio of lovers or something.
I believe that's true.
Huh?
I believe that's
Yeah,
true.
so-
It was like the most immoral
Yeah.
place to stand on a moral ground. Like, it was weird.
It was like some wife cheating on her husband with another. Anyway, whatever.
Allegedly.
Thank you, Lord.
I said like. To this day, to my knowledge, they don't show and work in LA anymore.
I don't pay attention to them, so I don't know. I really don't.
Well,
when someone betrays me, they're dead to me.
I pay attention to galleries. I pay attention to what's going on in the community. I don't see their names anywhere. So, if you ask me, they shot themselves in the foot really hard by snubbing you.
Yeah, well, I don't even understand it. Like, again, it's like you think people understand who you are, and then they
Well,
just.
I think like as a owner and a curator of a gallery as well, like part of what Hyaena inspires me is the fact that like there's no fucking rules. Like you can do anything
Fearless,
you want.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fearless. Like you can do anything. Like you can have people chopping up watermelons on the side of the street and call it art. Like that's what
we didn't call it art. We called it fun.
Well, yeah, it was fun too. But like that's why
If he'd actually cut her back, it would have been art.
She would have liked that too.
But that's what Hyaena means to me is like there's no rules and you can do anything here.
I feel like that's fair. Like
a gallery is a safe space to do anything you want, and it's really shitty when an artist who you're giving that safe space to stabs you in the back.
if there's anything that I would say about Bill, like if you gave me one word to describe Bill, it would be fearless. But
Stupid. Like
the backside of that is
it's stupidity,
it's
man.
not
Like my whole
smart.
life is based on stupidity. I'm
Like-
too stupid to know better. Like
But God bless you for it, man. Because you know what? If you had been too smart for your own good, maybe you would have been more financially successful. But
oh yeah.
the integrity, like the respect factor that you get from the rest of us, I'm not saying it should mean everything, but it got to mean something.
Well, this is what I care about. You know, it like I could go work at a gas station and be fine. Like I could have.
You'd make more money at a gas
I'd
station.
have so much more free life.
Yeah.
But I love this. But you, with again back to that show. I'd given up. I was like, I don't have a show next month. Maybe I should just close. And then Jeremy, behind my back, had organized all these artists to do like a support Hyaena anti-censorship show.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And like sprung it on me, and that love kept me going. And I don't think I would have kept going if it wasn't for that.
No way.
No, I'm serious. I was so done.
You were SMID right now just because.
No. I was so betrayal hits me harder than anything.
I mean, that's fair because it was brutal.
Like I was like, I just couldn't believe it.
It was really brutal.
It was people I loved that were like.
The amount of publicity that they tried to generate against you was horrendous.
But it all backfired.
It all failed.
It all backfired. It ended up making me look really good.
Yeah.
For doing this stupid show with an outsider artist I loved, that we had maybe 10 pieces in the show, so 10 people cared about it who bought the pieces. The rest of America didn't care.
All right. So we were going from where you were to where you are.
Yes.
And that was a speed bump.
That was a pivotal moment, though.
Okay. So more than a speed
Like-
bump. It was a fucking 90-degree turn. What happened after that?
Then I became fearless. I was like, I'm going to show whatever we did. We did a show based on, like, every year we did an anti-censorship show.
Oh, that's
after
right,
that,
yeah.
and it was just like, do the worst thing you can possibly imagine.
Chris Sapp made T-shirts for one of them.
Yes.
Fight censorship.
Yes.
I still have it. It doesn't fit me anymore.
Jim Wirt did a piece that he insisted be covered in brown paper.
Was that the one with the giant splayed-out vagina?
No. I actually saw it before he covered it, and it was pretty terrible. And the customer who bought it said, "I'm never going to open this. I just know it's the worst thing ever inside this paper."
What was it? You have to say.
I can't tell you.
Oh my God, you're not going to say.
I'll tell you later, maybe.
Oh, secrets. So
No,
many
because
secrets.
if the owner won't reveal it, then I
right,
can't.
you don't want
you
to
don't
burst
wanna
their,
ruin
you don't
it
want
for
them
them.
to know. That's fair. That's fair.
Or
But-
the off chance that he's
but
one
it
of the
was
50.
one
Do
of
you
the-
know? Do you still have contact with the person who bought that piece?
Oh yes, and they still haven't
They
opened it.
still haven't opened it. All right, then I don't ever want to know either. Okay, in that
It's
case.
pretty amazing though, because I saw it and was like, oh God, like, oh, he's like, don't worry, I'm going to cover it in paper.
Like it's
I'm like,
it's
I'm like,
worse.
are you sure? Like,
Like I can't imagine it's worse than the swastika butthole in the bathroom.
oh, have you seen what's on the reverse of that?
No.
That is the Prophet Muhammad showing his lovely tits and pussy.
Holy shit.
It's a secret drawing in the back of the Hyaena bathroom is a secret art gallery,
Dude,
and I have a
the
beautiful
bathroom
painting
is
of
unreal.
Adolf Hitler, naked, bending over, showing his butt, and his butthole is a swastika.
It's so gross.
And it's painted too well.
Yeah. And that's exactly. It's painted fucking too well.
And on the reverse is a cartoon drawing of the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, the Hyaena bathroom here is fantastic.
It's
It
Jim
is-
Wirt piece, though, I think if you do uncover it, it will melt Nazis' faces off.
Oh, it was something I was like, I don't know if I want to show that. Like,
So it's
which
equivalent to the
I never
Grail.
have that response. I was like, oh man, like, why did you do that? Like,
I love Jim.
Yeah.
I miss Jim. I haven't seen Jim in
no,
way too long.
he's one of the few artists that made me like take a step back.
His brutality and his honesty is pretty unreal. There's actually, funny fact, there's a Jim Wirt piece hanging in the bathroom of the Fourth Horseman.
Oh, awesome! Which one?
It's the one that's the guy holding the bottle of Jack Daniels that says, what is it? I'm going to paraphrase, but it's like, thanks to you, I don't beat the kids anymore.
Yes, from Coloring Book Land. Oh
Yes.
Yes.
And the original painting I screwed into the bathroom
That's awesome.
Of Fourth Horseman.
But yeah, so from there, Hyaena, I don't know. At this point, I just kind of show what I like, and I'm real mellow about it. Like the last 2 years, I've had such a relaxed attitude towards the gallery. I just want to show fun stuff and really highlight new artists again.
And you've
Like,
started showing other stuff too, right? Like,
Yeah.
like your found art collection has really taken on a life of its own.
Well, I realized I've been showing a lot of, because I tend to show the artists I like and my friends. So I'm like, wow, I'm giving so much airtime to all the same people. I don't want people to get bored with this. So I started mixing it up, and I'm a huge fan. Thanks to Brian especially of like picking, like going into like estate sales and finding stuff and finding forgotten art. I love forgotten art. And finding these artists who have passed away who leave this weird legacy that their family has no idea how to handle. Because it's odd art.
You found some magic.
Oh, I love it. So I've been sneaking a lot more of that into the gallery shows.
Give me an example of like your favorite pick piece.
Oh, God. Right now, see, I would say it's the Geraldine Buono stuff, which is actually behind you.
The assemblage stuff.
These assemblage stuff. Like
Yeah.
when we walked into her house, her estate sale, it was 2 blocks behind where I live. And I'm so pissed off I didn't meet this woman because I think we would have hit it off.
Was she the one that was deceased? It was
Yeah,
her estate
yeah.
sale? Okay.
But she had maybe 30 massive art pieces, assemblage pieces, all with similar motifs and all just gorgeous. And I could only save 5 of them. And I'm actually sad I couldn't save more. But nobody else has bought them, so I still have all 5 here. Like, because it's just magic to me, maybe. But man, something about her art just touched me. And
No, they're bizarre on a level that is incredibly intriguing.
but really
Like
well
the fact
thought.
that nobody knew
really
who
well
she
thought through.
was, and
Yeah,
and
she was a school
as
teacher.
prolific as she was.
She was a school teacher. She made jewelry, and that stuff was terrible. It was like beadwork and nothing I care about. But in her garage, she was making these massive assemblage pieces, that, like creating like tables with gold leafing and taxidermy and skeletons of birds and skulls, and they were just gorgeous. And like her whole heart, like, you remember her house? It was all artistic.
Actually, you were on your own on that one.
Ah, shit! I thought
Yeah,
you were there.
I
Sorry,
I missed out on that one.
man. It was magic to me because every room had a motif. Like she had a monkey room.
She had a whole monkey room.
And it was all like weird monkey art. Like
Oh my god!
brass
How did
monkeys.
you not take home the whole room?
I got a lot of it.
Where is it?
I sold some. I kept some. Like all this stuff. Like when I find an artist, like half of it comes to me, half of it comes to the store. 'Cause that's the
Yeah.
only way I can justify it.
You're selfish.
I would take it all if I could
I know
afford
you
it,
would.
but I gotta. If I sell some, then I can afford the pieces I kept, kind of thing. Because I'm still a massive collector. I love all this shit.
Yeah.
All right, so I feel like we're current. We've passed 14 years of history of Hyaena Gallery
In a flash.
in a flash, like really fast. I mean, it's probably not. We've probably been recording.
I mean,
for
there were
like
a
2
few
hours.
other highlights. I don't know if you want to touch on. We did a show with John Carpenter, and we did the show with Wes Craven. And
I feel like those are definitely
Stuart Gordon.
worth touching on because they were here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You've had a long history of
I
bringing
won't. I don't
in
want to do a show
horror
with someone who can't be here, like a tribute show to Guillermo del Toro. I want him here. Like, the only one that failed was Toby Hooper. We had it in the bag. Like Toby will be here. We're all set. He approves of the show. Like I always get permission from who I want to do a tribute show to, and then try to work with them. Like bring them in whatever comfort level they have. We'll work with it. And Toby, up until 2 days before the show, was 100% going to be here, and then he changed his mind.
So let's talk about the ones that were successes.
Well, how?
Well, Toby is like it was kind of my white whale. Like I really wanted him here, and it was so accessible. One of my friends was his like best friend, Dan Madigan. I don't know if you know Dan, but Dan worked with Toby. He was a friend. He was like, "Oh no, Bill, we got it," and then Toby changed his mind.
Okay.
Well, I think
But the
like,
show was still great.
you being where Hyaena is too probably helps facilitate that kind of thing too, because you guys are like
You're
right
studio
down the
friendly.
street.
Yeah.
Oh, right down the street. But also, I approach this shit like when I want to do a show with somebody, like some major director, again, like John Carpenter. We got John Carpenter here. We got Wes Craven here.
Brian, tell me about the John Carpenter show.
The John Carpenter show was insane. Bill and I, the night before, went to see Motorhead, and I think it was louder in here than the Motorhead show.
Holy shit.
It was just, there was nothing to suck up the noise, and everybody was so excited, and it wasn't like a convention atmosphere. It was kind of more a party atmosphere.
Because John was here.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
here, and
Oh,
he was
yeah.
really cool. He had very loose rules that he wanted. He wanted a place to go out back to smoke, and he also wanted to
Fair.
be able to just slip out unannounced and just leave when he was done. And he wanted some Coca-Cola.
Yeah, yeah. It was so
Like
easy. It was so easy.
actual soda pop,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
I think we got him
Okay.
the good Mexican Cokes.
I mean,
yeah, with
I mean,
real
it's
sugar.
not a euphemism, right?
No.
Like he wasn't lining out in the,
No.
in the
He
swastika
came
bathroom.
an hour before the show because he wanted to see the art, and he was just tickled. He was like, "I can't believe you guys did this for me. Like this is."
He was super charmed.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Tickled is the only word I can think of. Like he was tickled. He was like kind of like chuckling as he's like, "Oh my god! Like people care about my work this much."
How does he not know?
He knows, but I don't think anyone ever said it to him that sincerely.
Or in that way, for sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everything with that is sincere, with me.
Like you're sitting there, like you're talking about people painting their depictions of their emotions reflecting on your art.
Yeah.
Essentially. That's pretty deep.
Yeah, every artist is saying, "You've influenced me.
Yeah.
Here's a
I
little.
love
Here's
you
a little like
because-
thank you."
Yeah.
And I don't know, like we've gotten away with it and pulled off some weird stunts that shouldn't have worked.
So John Carpenter, Toby Hooper didn't quite work out.
No, Stuart Gordon was amazing. He was great. Wes Craven was beyond. Like, that guy would have come and like cleaned the bathroom for me if I'd asked him to. He was just so encouraging and happy and supportive.
I wish you would have cleaned the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
Somebody should.
It's no
But
fun.
like, if anyone ever says a bad word about Wes Craven, you should punch him in the face because they're lying. Like, that dude just cares about art and cared about like supporting.
Give me an
art.
example. Like tell me about the approach and the reception.
Well, Nick Caesar and Skip Crank. Skip Crank is a prop guy,
Right.
and an artist we show here. But Skip had worked on a lot of Wes Craven.
Oh, did this
films.
come from the Scream 3 thing?
Scream 4.
Scream 4, sorry.
So Skip was like, "Hey Wes, I have this art gallery I like. Why don't we put a bunch of their art in the next movie?" And Wes was like, "Okay." So we did a Scream 4 show.
And that was the barn scene.
The barn. It was like the Scream Fest or Stab Fest.
Stab Fest, and it was a barn scene,
Yeah.
and all the art in it was from here.
All of it was from here.
Yeah.
And then Wes was like, "You guys, like, that was so cool of you to like, give us that art. Sell it, we'll promote it." And Wes helped promote the show, and we had a big like Stab 4 show. And he also gave us a bunch of props. Skip and Wes gave us a bunch of stuff. Wes signed a bunch of stuff. And it was just rad. Like, it was a great night. Wes didn't come to that one, but then we booked a tribute show to him a few months later, which he came to. And then the next month was John Carpenter. Like, it was a crazy year. 2014 was awesome.
Well, and I think recently you did the Trauma show.
Yeah. Well,
Which
Lloyd
is
has been a hero of mine
Yeah.
forever. Like,
Who doesn't love trauma?
like, I don't think I would have the courage to do Hyaena if it wasn't for Trauma.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
they're a big inspiration for me as well. So
Yeah, as they should be.
yeah.
And
Amazing.
Lloyd was great, man. What a good dude.
Yeah, remarkable. And I'm a huge fan. I grew up in New Jersey, so for me, Toxic Avenger having a hero from New Jersey was everything. And
Even if it was Toxie.
Hey, I'll take Toxie.
Sure.
yeah, it's just he's so down to earth, and he makes movies the way Bill runs an art gallery. It is
so
by the
true.
seat of
That
the
is
pants.
so fair. Oh
It
my
is
God.
totally.
We talked about that.
It is totally by the seat of the pants, and you know.
It's like we do shit we don't know if it's gonna work, but we hope it does.
That's the most legit comparison I could think of right now.
Yeah,
no.
we just don't ask the artists to sleep on the floor and
Yeah.
eat old top ramen.
I totally slept on
Or
the
to do
floor
all the
here.
work. like, hey, you hang the show.
Also, I've hung a show here. So,
Well, you insisted.
or pass around a bucket to shit in. But
there's that. I've not shit here. That's
No.
fair.
Oh, weird. I have.
Well, I'm sure you have.
Not in
I
the
still have
bathroom.
never.
I've done
shit
other
here.
horrible things in this gallery, but we won't talk about
Oh my
those.
God, yes. No, but Lloyd, it was weird because he was the most nervous for me to approach because he was such a hero of mine. Like, I wouldn't have had the courage to open this gallery if it wasn't for someone like Lloyd Kaufman.
I met
Like-
Lloyd after you did the show with him at Long Beach Comic Con. Mm-hmm. I'd met him before, but I met him there, and I was like, "Hey, you did a show with Hyaena Gallery, and like that's like Home Away from Home," and he gushed, ignoring a throng of people. Like, I expected like a moment of recognition and appreciation and just like, thanks, moving on. But he ignored a throng of people to gush about how much he loved Hyaena Gallery.
Lloyd bought us lunch. Like, I don't know if that's significant to
Yeah,
many people.
that
but
was kind of surreal.
it kind
Sitting
of
on the
is
beach
awesome.
eating
He
grilled
doesn't
cheese.
buy many people lunch.
I don't think he's bought many people lunch.
I love the man. Like, and we, I can still call him to this day and be like, hey, what's up? Like,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
So what's next?
Oh man.
So the future.
You know, everything is really like I've actually postponed all my shows for the rest of the year right now until I know what the fuck's
I
going on.
feel like you're not alone there.
Like I could.
shit's
You
weird.
guys are doing virtual shows, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so low tech. like if I did that, I'm like, man, that's just me doing a lot of work.
Yeah, we have to get a head cleaner for the Betamax in
Yeah.
order to be able to shoot it.
But
Whatever
I
the fuck
kind of
these are.
I kind of love
What the fuck?
I love people
There's
like
a
coming
disc.
in to see the art. So I don't want to do virtual unless I really, really have to. Because I crave that interaction with the customer, and just like even someone who just wants to look at the art. I love talking to them about it. Like that's a big part of what makes me happy here.
Well,
So yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we did that Facebook Live opening, which was very successful, and
the
actually,
response was way more than we thought it would be. Honestly, like we expected a few,
That's fantastic.
but it was huge.
and so maybe that it was really cool to be able to converse with the customer and the people that are interested in the art live
In the moment, yeah,
In the moment.
about each piece.
So maybe try it. I don't know.
Oh, I probably will if it gets too long. Like,
I mean,
I'm gonna
yeah.
have to.
There's
But
there's
I,
something else.
I always feel like I'm ripping off the artist if I don't get enough people in to see their art when it's on the wall
well,
too.
yeah, I know it's
It's just
You know,
not
it's
possible
tough.
right now.
No, of course it's not.
Yeah.
But
And that's why, like, we're just trying to figure out ways around that.
And art is always so different to experience in person rather than in a photograph or in a print or anything. It always looks better in person.
Agreed.
It almost
If
there's
it
almost
doesn't, it's
never
some shitty art.
Yeah, there's almost never an instance where art doesn't
but
look
I
better
also
in person.
want that interaction. I want the people in here, and I want to talk to them.
No, the human element is everything.
Yeah. So some guy was riffing on me because I don't have a shopping cart on my website. I'm like, no, because I like talking to people. Like,
I mean,
like,
to be fair, I feel like you could use a shopping cart.
but I'm so old school, man. Like, I really want to talk to someone who cares about what I'm doing.
Again, this goes right back to those early values. Like, nobody said it was smart,
Stupidly stubborn.
but your integrity.
Yeah, see, I'm the complete opposite. Like, I've never wanted to email. Like, I'm a collector, and I've never wanted to email outside of you, but I know you. But I've never wanted to email the gallery and say, hey, I'm interested in this piece and have this big dissertation. I want this. Buy. Like, that's how I come from
I think
it.
this goes back to my metalhead years, like high school, and like loving heavy metal and having no outlet to connect with people. So you find someone who likes the same band you do, and you're like, fuck yeah, man, like let's talk, let's hang, like
You bro down, yeah.
yeah. But even if it was through letters back then, like you're writing a Metal Blade and you like talk to somebody at Metal Blade, like, oh fuck, you're supporting this stuff, this is what I love, and you end up having a relationship with these people through a weird mail order correspondence.
Through jail. Yeah.
Like, you don't even know if they like you, but you're buying like 45s of Raven from them, and like, so they're like, we got a sucker on the line, let's keep
right.
talking to him.
So let's talk about the 360 from that, which is social media.
Mm-hmm.
So you have letters from this. You have a very interesting take on how you approach social media. And I actually love the shit out of it, and I think it's brilliant. Tell me about Destroy the Day.
Destroy the Day. That was a concept I had one day where I realized, like, every day is important. Like, after the house fire, when we had nothing, and, like, after my injury in my wrist, and, like, you realize every day is kind of important. And if you waste your day, like Jim Morrison said, I tell you this, no eternal reward will forgive us now for wasting the day. Or wasting the dawn, yes. That's kind of where it stemmed from. That sentiment is, well, fuck, we got to do something. Every day we have to do something. And the least amount of effort you can do is learn something new. So every day I try to learn something I didn't know and revisit or like learn about a story. And my interests are fucked up. Like,
No shit.
I like true crime. I like conspiracy. I like murder. I like hoaxes. So cults, yeah. It's everything I think is really interesting. So every day on Instagram, I do a post called Destroy the Day where I highlight a story. A lot of it's true crime, and it's just something I think is interesting. Sometimes I'll go through a week where I'll just cover surrealist art because I think these artists are important and nobody talks about them. But it's just whatever's on my mind that morning that I'm reading about, and I share it with the world. And maybe like 50 people care.
Oh no, we get loads of feedback when we're at Monsterpalooza. People come up all the time and they ask about it. I'm like, well, that's the guy, you know.
I feel like a lot more than 50 people care.
Well, 50 people like.
Yeah, but there's
like. Like, it's weird measuring like your value in likes.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Well, it also requires a bit of reading, and
Yeah.
that slows down some people a little bit.
And I find if I just post a gruesome photo, it'll get like 300 likes.
But the story.
But nobody reads
Part
the story.
2,
And
3,
part
4,
2,
yeah.
like 20,
Well, see,
25,
that's what
like,
I think is genius about what you do, though. Like, is you do them in like 4, 5, 6 episode tangents, and like you have to follow your feed in order to see all of it.
Well, I always think people who care should be rewarded. So if you're lazy, you're not going to get the full story. If you actually care, you're going to get a full story that I actually spent like 2 hours on this morning.
Like, you research the fuck out of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you tell a very in-depth tale.
And people people will criticize me like, well, that's just a Wikipedia entry. I'm like, yeah, but I fucking spent 2 hours editing it so you could read it. Like,
Right.
Like I don't do a lot of original writing anymore. When I first started it, I would always write it, and I found out like people didn't care. And I could get the same amount of information out there by just taking some stories that other people have written and kind of editing them together. So I'll usually take like at least 3 sources and edit them into something that's readable. And it's helped my editing like forever. It actually helps my writing too, because I do like writing, but I don't always have time to write a good story.
Well, I love them. I read them. And sometimes I regret reading them.
Oh yeah, you should.
Like today, for instance. Today's was particularly brutal. It was the story of the 13-year-old kid who brutally murdered the 4-year-old kid.
I gotta tell you, I have I'm a terrible person, and I have such a perverse glee when I do child murder.
Oh my God. Dude.
When he does writing about them.
Writing. Not when I actually do it. When I do it, I'm really solemn.
Edit.
But like when I'm posting a child murder today, I know people are going to be like hating me for this, but they hate it to the point where they can't stop reading, and that cracks me up.
Well, he was telling me
because I always get hate mail on child murder.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you posting stuff like why are you reading this?
Because
you could
it's
just
a
scroll
true
by.
story.
It's a true story.
It happens,
and it's insane to me.
It is insane, especially this one.
This one's one of the worst.
Because it's a 13-year-old kid that murders a 4-year-old kid by shoving sticks up his ass.
Yeah, well, he had already killed him by that point.
Oh, I thought he died from the sticks.
No, he did that to ensure he was dead, so he wouldn't tell on him.
The details do not help, really.
No. Like when I
showered after I read episode 4.
When I put these out there, I'm cringing probably more than most people who are reading it. Like, I'm not a terrible person.
Here's the thing.
But
what I would love to see, based on everything I know about you and your passion, I would love to see you host an anthology TV series that I wouldn't watch.
I wouldn't watch it. I don't want to see me.
In search of.
Oh, I would do it in search of. Like, that was my bread and butter growing up.
What's that?
Leonard Nimoy?
I don't remember this.
In search of? Oh.
I don't know this.
How do you not...
I don't know
How
it.
old are
I'm
you?
sorry. I'm 43.
I've got like 5 years on you.
Fuck you,
And you
I'm
don't know
sorry.
In Search Of? Do you know In Search Of?
It sounds familiar, but I don't.
He's 5 years younger than me.
Oh my God. This was like what started me on my path to insanity.
All right.
It was Leonard Nimoy hosting. I think Carl Sagan had an involvement in it. But it was every week you got a story from Leonard Nimoy talking about like Bigfoot. Here's the search for Atlantis. Here's the Loch Ness
Leonard Nimoy
Monster.
from Star Trek.
Leonard Nimoy hosting this really well produced.
I really hope this is on YouTube.
Oh my God!
It'd be like the story of the pyramids, or a conspiracy theory, or I mean
the Knights Templar.
Yeah, they were pretty broad, but they were informative.
That's fine.
Right. Can you comprehend someone not knowing this exists?
Yeah, I mean,
this is also the basis of the story of the day. This is where it all comes from for me. I mean, this was like my mind being blown as a kid. You're just staring at me with blank faces.
Like, sorry, man.
It was like,
I don't have a reference point for this.
Almost like a direct tie into some of those Time Life books.
Yeah.
You know, it had that feel to it.
Yeah. I remember those. I'm sorry.
In a weekly TV show.
And it was fucking brilliant. It was so good. And it was everything.
Was this
cool.
early 80s?
Yeah, it probably would have been late 70s.
late 70s, early 80s, yeah.
Okay, so I was 3.
into the
All right, that makes
80s.
sense.
Oh, you must have been so cute.
I was.
Little chubby Jeremy.
I mean, not much has
I
changed.
picture the beard being the same.
God
The voice was the same.
the gargling razor blades.
Give me
the
some
same
whiskey, Mom.
All right, so this is degenerated into bullshit.
Oh, I seriously can't believe you guys have no reference point for this.
No, but I want to watch it now.
You just make me feel insanely old.
Well,
Yeah, I'm sure you
Take
can
out
probably
the
look
old.
it
No,
up.
In Search
It's
of
worth watching, yeah.
was so important to me.
all right,
Like,
all right.
Like they had novelizations based on like the shows. Like, oh man,
There's probably some on the shelf here.
probably.
You have so many books in here.
Oh, yeah.
Should we talk about the books?
Well, I love books. Like
Because the books have taken over.
I haven't taken. I just rearranged the store so you can see them better.
All right.
But like maybe 2 years ago, I thought it would be funny to have a book section, and I started with a cookbook section.
The Dolly.
Dolly, the Ted Nugent Kill It and Grill It
There's
cookbook.
a Ted Nugent?
Yeah. I don't cook, but I've always had an obsession with cookbooks.
Why?
I don't know.
What is it about him?
Because my mom would cook like the most terrible recipes out of cookbooks.
Like tuna jello molds?
Yeah, like cream of mushroom soup and rice and
Yeah, I feel like that was a staple in my house.
yeah. But she always used a cookbook to make the worst shit ever. Like my mom was a terrible cook.
Like, why do you need a recipe for that
Yeah,
madness?
you could have just put together 8 things in your fridge, and I would have had a much less miserable time
Right.
eating this crap. I've told my mom to her face I hated her cooking, so this isn't like a revelation. I'm not cheating on my mom or something.
Your mom's adorable.
She's wonderful, but she's a terrible cook.
She makes good cookies.
She makes great. She's a good baker, terrible cook.
Having spoken to your mother on the phone on numerous occasions. Sweet, sweet woman that I adore.
Oh, that's phone sex?
Yep.
Oh, God.
You know what? To her credit, I always finish.
She never breaks character.
I know.
Do you call collect?
I mean, I collect it somewhere.
No, but I've because of that, I think cookbooks have stuck in my head as the weirdest kind of book ever.
It is a weird kind of book.
Because they also are like they go out of style.
Yeah.
So like something you're eating now, you're not going to eat in 4 years. It's just so weird to
The
me.
tuna mold is a great example.
Oh,
of
there's-
that. Yeah.
Some of it goes in cycles. Like you will see, I don't know, like fondue had a little bit of a comeback.
Well, it's like,
But
like
you look at-
fashion, cyclical, yeah.
But if you look at some of the photos in some of the vintage cookbooks, say from the late 60s, early 70s, this stuff does not look appetizing at all. It looks like green dog food or something. Yeah, there's some really horrifying stuff in some of those books. So yeah, it ties in. It's kind of dark food art.
Yes.
Dark food art.
So
cookbooks.
if you look around, all these bookshelves started because I wanted to have a cookbook section in
It's
the store.
amazing.
Because I thought it would be hysterical to have a cookbook section in an art gallery. But I'm like, well, I can't have that without having other books to make that make sense. So I started bringing like everything I care about. So I have sections of sexuality, sections of like
Occultism.
circus,
Witchcraft.
true crime, a
Astrology.
great music section, a signed book section, which Brian hates.
You don't like signed books?
Oh, I love signed books, but I just think that having a section just for the signed books rather than the
Pretentious as
genre.
fuck.
No, just they belong in the genre. No one, is looking for a science fiction book in the signed books section.
But it's
Oh,
funny.
it's a point where you guys argue. It's
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, it drives me insane.
It cracks me up.
Yeah, they should be categorized, not just signed.
But I have a good like classic dark literature.
And he makes me
section.
sign all of them.
He actually forged.
Stephen Hawking. I do a really good Stephen Hawking like that.
He does the voice, Stephen Hawking. Well, he's doing it too. It's terrible.
All right. I'm going to tie this up. Real quick because we're ridiculous. Let's be honest.
Well, Hyaena is partially ridiculous.
Yes.
I think.
No, that's what's amazing about you. Is you take it very seriously inside your hearts.
Well, this
But
is
on the
all
surface-
important. It's all very important to me.
But on the surface, it's madness.
Well, yes, but life is madness.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, literally, not in the figurative, ethereal sense, but literally, what is next? What's the next show, the next step? What's the next thing you were doing that we can promote?
Well, the next show I've been postponing because of the pandemic is The New Alchemy. It's just a good dark art show. I think that the original art was the original spells. Cave paintings were manifestations. It was the artists willing things to happen, willing the hunt, willing the rains. So I always think like magic started with cave paintings. It's the artist trying to manifest what they want in life. So The New Alchemy, I was trying to take that concept and bring it to a modern twist and ask the artist to like just give me good art that'll show the next step for you.
The next step in their own personal evolution?
Or in
in
what they want to see happen in the world or whatever. It's really personal to the artist. And I've gotten great art in with it. I actually feel terrible I haven't shown it to the world yet. But we're kind of waiting for...
So you have all the art for the show?
I do. And I've actually increased the show since we've postponed it. I've invited more artists for our limited space.
So you're waiting until the pandemic is lifted to show it?
I'm waiting for some kind of clarity as to when it's right, if that makes any sense at all.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right, so last comment on the pandemic. How do you have the last name that is a plague in this day and age? Brian Bubonic.
I've had some people comment. I sent mail to a friend of mine in Philadelphia kind of at the beginning of it, and he said, I can't believe I just received a package from Plague Productions, Brian Bubonic, and the mailman was all right with that, and it was kind of like...
I'm sure he wore fucking gloves.
It was in a tube. Yeah, it's... I don't know.
Where did that come from, man? We all know that's not your real last name, so you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, in 1979, I had a fictitious punk rock band called Brian Bubonic and the Plague. And
that's adorable.
It was...
It's actually a really good name.
My brother and I, we made little Super 8... Actually, we started with regular 8mm, and then we made Super 8mm films. And Brian Bubonic and the Plague were a band who destroyed all their instruments in concert, and then we made a movie about them on search for new equipment.
Did you ever record music?
We did, actually.
Okay. I didn't expect that.
we recorded, me and my friend Mickey, as a two-piece, we recorded in his garage. And basically, I played a Wurlitzer organ and sang songs that I wrote, and my brother wrote a few of them as well. And Mickey would...
I wonder what's in your butthole.
Is it astronauts? Aliens?
Mickey would occasionally play guitar, and his job was, it was a fake live album. So he was taking an LP of a Steve Martin live in concert record and just putting the needle down on the audience applause. Lifting the needle off and putting the needle back down on the audience applause.
So good.
So it's like he was creating a loop, and we had no idea what we were doing. Yeah. And I had no idea how to play the Wurlitzer organ.
Early.
Yeah. And the songs were kind of like Wesley Willis. So we were kind of looking back now, we were a cross between Wesley Willis and Suicide. Because we had a keyboard, we had no idea how to operate, but if we could make it make a fart noise or do something weird, it was like, oh, that's cool.
I feel like the time has come for this to be released.
I have a feeling it...
Along with your personal photos of you as serial killers.
Yes. Oh my God, yes, please.
I have a feeling the music wouldn't hold up very well.
You could use them as single covers. I'm just saying.
The themes were about Skylab crashing to Earth.
Still relevant.
Looking out your window and finding 3 dead horses on your front lawn.
Insanely relevant.
That was one of the songs.
That sounds beautiful.
There was a song about a pair of I had a Groucho Marx eyeglasses with the fake nose.
Yeah.
But the nose fell off, and I used to like to wear just the glasses.
So it was just the glasses?
Yeah, and so I wrote a song called Hairy Eyeglasses. That was about those. So yeah, it was like the songs. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to hear them. And we
No,
recorded
we
direct
wanna
to
hear the-
I wanna
we
hear that.
recorded
We totally do.
we recorded direct to 8-track tape, not 8-track like 8-track,
main
but
8-track,
an
but an
8-track
actual 8-track,
ka-chunk
yeah.
ka-chunk
Yeah.
tape. So yeah, I don't know. There's
Hipster.
somewhere the master is floating around.
All
out
right, you
there.
weird
Total
plague
hipster.
fucker. Brian, thank you so much for being on here today.
Sure. Thank you guys for coming
Brian
here.
Bubonic, round of applause.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bill Shaffer.
What?
You were the godfather, man. I know you don't feel like it, but like without you,
Yeah.
I don't exist.
Yeah, without you, we wouldn't be sitting here.
That's so
Like-
strange.
But now we're sitting here doing an interview with you, and it feels surreal as fuck because you were the birth of
But
everything.
we're all doing what we love.
Yes.
I mean,
like-
that's true.
That's all that matters. Like we need to do this.
But I'm still gonna virtually suck your dick.
That's fine.
I didn't think you'd complain.
I mean,
More
even
tongue.
though you told me not to do it, I still did it, and it's because you did it.
Oh my god, I thought it was
You
the
were
worst
warned.
idea ever.
Yeah.
Like you said
Yeah.
that in your first podcast. I was dying. I'm like,
Did you listen?
yes. And you're like, he said, don't do it.
It is true.
It's a terrible idea. I'm
That
like,
was the first thing
it's
out of your mouth.
still the same advice I would have.
It
for
was
you.
the second dumbest thing he did. The first dumbest was bringing me on board to help him.
Yeah, I would have warned you again if I knew.
Well, I didn't know him.
I
At
had
the
no
time.
idea this
Yeah.
guy would like slither in.
That's what I done.
No, but it's still my advice for anyone. Like, don't do it. Like,
quit
it's,
now while you're ahead.
It's so much sacrifice and so much, like God, non-accolades. I guess I don't know. Like,
I feel like you've had your fair share of accolades. Not as many as you deserve.
But it's
But-
weird. It's one of those.
But
things
when
you
you're trying to
can't
pay
not do,
when you're trying
you
to
know?
pay rent, like
That applause means nothing.
the likes on your Facebook don't mean shit. It's like $5 in your till helps a lot.
Yeah.
But
But
I would still do this.
I'll say
regardless.
this: until the day that I stop doing art, stop producing art, stop showing art, stop being in the art community, is the only day that I will ever stop touting how important you were to that journey.
I just hope you get really famous and give me a kickback,
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
like $10. Like, come on, man, $10.
I got $10 for you.
I'll slobber on it for you.
We can all go down to
No,
Bob
I
Hope.
really just hope everyone who's kind of passed through these doors does great things.
You know what, man? So many people who have passed through these doors have done great things. And because of these doors, not just because they passed through them, but because of you. And that's valuable. Don't cut yourself short. I know it's hard for you to accept applause
Well,
and
no,
appraise. but
it's what I care about. Like, I want the people who've worked with me to do well. And that's all I've ever cared about.
well, some of them have.
Huh?
And we have you to thank.
And then there's you guys.
And then we're here.
And then us dumbasses. All right, guys. Thanks for being on the Art Pit with us.
The armpit.
We've been drinking a little.
That's the new fetish.
That's fine.
Thanks for being on the Art Pit. Bill Shaffer, Hyaena Gallery,
Woohoo!
Support them. Support
Brian
them.
Bubonic.
Buy some stuff, please.
Please buy some stuff from Hyaena.
No, seriously, just to clear space.
No, buy stuff from every small business. Small businesses need folks right now.
yeah.
They need support. And if you love a place, support them because they're not going to be around in 2 months if you don't.
Yeah.
True.
Thanks, you guys.